So in the last video, we talked about how the act of creation can sometimes butt up against financial obligation, as well as the responsibilities that we have as mostly functional members of society. The creative process can sometimes be diluted or stymied by focusing too much on the outcome, especially a financial one, because we can very easily relinquish control and kind of be beholden to the expectations of just another audience, an audience that we may not care to be beholden to. So today I thought that it might be interesting to walk through an example, share with you an example rather, of something that gives me creative control and I feel is done for reasons that like fulfill me and make me happy. I'll circle this back around, but basically my girlfriend is very interested in romantic fantasy or romantasy as a genre. And we've been kind of exploring this over the past year, I would say. It rose to popularity. Well, I shouldn't say rose to popularity. It's been popular so far as I know, but kind of like had a meteoric rise and just become very, very popular on TikTok, as a lot of social phenomenon tend to do nowadays. So it invited a bunch of people to into the genre who may have not been privy to it, and certainly allowed more discussion surrounding that genre than was made accessible previously. We have like a lot of fun with it. We went to an ACOTAR ball that was like themed like Valaris, and I dressed up, she dressed up. It was a lot of fun. We're both nerds, so it makes it easy. So she has this interest in romantic fantasy, which as a genre, if we imagine the like three different buckets here, you'd have like the relationship with the main character, likely, or the desire to build a relationship or the pursuit of a relationship. And then you have the world building, and then you have like the plot. So the relationship tends to push the plot along and kind of like give it that fuel. Contrast that with something like Lord of the Rings, where like there's just a bunch of stuff going on and there's a deeper through line, but it has nothing to do with romance. I mean, you can make the argument that Frodo really loves the ring, but it isn't really. The romance is kind of incidental. It happens because it's in the world. So it's a fantasy with romance, but it's not a romantic fantasy. And the challenge that I've been offered is my girlfriend was curious what my contribution would be to the romantic fantasy genre. And I thought that was an interesting question because I'm not a narrative writer. I am a very technical writer. It's what I do for a living in the game design space and otherwise. So if you kind of break it down, technical writing is the ability to concisely package ideas, concepts, and information in a way that can be digested without somebody's eyes glazing over. And then you can pass that along to another person and they can take it and build something greater with it. So when we think about game design documentation, that is for the most part, actually, unless you're in the narrative side of that, doing that kind of art related stuff, then that's all technical writing. And even on the art side, there's technical writing there as well. Distal, so my TTRPG, that's all technical writing all the way through. And even though there are lore components associated with it, that's still my desire to deliver information that is useful for you as a GM or as a player to take and then build, run your game with. So by contrast, narrative writing is about having a start and an end and having a through line that you as a reader become more invested in as that plot develops. And so there's like a coherent story that needs to be maintained throughout. These are very broad strokes. There's plenty of ways to do narrative. There's plenty of ways to do technical. But point being, I'm very good at one of those things and not so great at one of the other. If you want to check out what I've done, however, there's a preview and then there's a spicy preview and there's a wait list if you wanted to sign up. But the impetus for this was just that I wanted to explore that question, to kind of push my own boundaries, because I am, again, not a narrative writer, but also very prudish in some ways. So there is a level of discomfort that I'm attempting to push past when it comes to things that are more intimate, spicy, sexy times, and that sort of thing. if you aren't familiar with the romantasy genre, and I haven't done a good job explaining it, then think about playing Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 3, and then having a romantic relationship with Karlach, and then wanting to win the game because of Karlach, like wanting to see, to make sure that she is able to overcome her circumstances, is very fueled by that desire to just like have a good life, with Karlach. So if you can sympathize with that, then that's basically what this is. Not my book in particular, just like the genre. It is that drive to very romantic, relationship driven, and at that point, the other stuff's kind of like it's a vehicle for that relationship. And by the other stuff, I mean the overarching plot that's taking place in Baldur's Gate. So to get back to why I was writing this, the work that I do is I'll write a chapter, and then I'll be able to sit down with her, and we'll both read it together, and then be able to talk about it. And that's a really cool experience because it's like our own private book club, except when she gives me feedback, and she's far more knowledgeable about this genre than I am. I can look at it, incorporate it in a way that makes sense for my writing style, and then we can just like kind of bond over that. We love to do this sort of stuff. She loves when I write, and that was kind of the whole thing in the first place, is that she wanted to know, what I was able to contribute. So I should probably tell you like a little bit about the book. The main character is on the second year of their 4 years of mandatory service. And that mandatory service is for the church. And the church is oppressive, it's all-encompassing, it's small-minded, it reflects modern-day society in a lot of ways. And because of that, they're really looking to part ways with their current life. And they're given an opportunity to do so during one fateful encounter with a forest-dwelling creature that ends up becoming waifu. I mean, we'll see. I don't know. I've only written a third of the book, and finds that leaving that old life behind is more difficult to do than they had originally anticipated. That's basically the core of it. The main character is not male. They are not female. They are self-insert. So depending on how you read the book and how you interpret what's being said is really where you end up. You can read it as a masculine character or feminine character, and it'll totally make sense, which poses a unique challenge for me when it comes to the super sexy times. And it is a self-imposed limitation that I don't know how it's going to shake out. The book so far has not been super horny. It is, I'm very focused on the relationship building with the characters, and I am indulging in the parts where circumstance and the relationships built with the characters end up culminating in like an intimate experience. But it is, again, this is something that I'm learning how to write, and it's been a challenge. It's been a fun challenge. And that like pushing myself is something that fulfills me creatively. And I just want to like invite you all for the ride. There's a wait list up on the website. You can go sign up. I'm not going to be blasting out a bunch of emails and running a campaign for this or whatever. But if it, I don't know if I'm not going to be running a campaign, but if there's enough interest, it might turn into a book proper. And if not, it'll just be like a cool thing that me and my girlfriend get to do, like as a side project. 'Cause some people like to just play board games or card games or whatever. I like to build stuff and then, read it together. So that's it. Thank you very much, folks. They're all signing off.